In this module, we are looking at foundations. And so something you might hear builders talk about is they use the word footers when they're talking about a foundation. And so if you hear the word footers, think of the root, foot. What holds you up when you walk around is your feet. Your feet are your foundation for you to walk around on. That's why your shoes are important. If you're going to be on a construction site, you're not wearing heels, right? You're wearing sensible boots that are going to give you the grip so you don't slip around. And so foundation of the building is the most important thing because it's the start. If the foundation is bad, you have a really pretty building, it's going to collapse eventually. It's going to lean to the side like Tower of Pisa you'll see in one of the videos. And so it's just, you want your foundation to be solid. Everything starts with that. So you want that square, you want that level, you want it perfect, and you want it on solid soil as well. You don't want it to be sinking down into the ground. And so you all know, even just you walking, there's different kinds of soil. If you go and climb a mountain when you're standing on rock or on concrete, right, you don't sink in at all. But what about when you're walking on snow? You sink into snow, but that's not soil. So let's say soil. So you're going to go and there's dirt when it's around here. The red clay dirt is hard. It feels like concrete when it's dry. After it snows on it, after it rains on it for a while, what happens when you walk on it? You sink into it. And the wetter it is, the deeper, the less stable it is, right? The further down you're going to sink. And so also sand, when it's dry, sand is really fluffy and you sink into it if you've ever been to the beach. But when it gets wet, then it gets harder actually, and then it's more compacted and you don't sink in as much. And so different soils react differently, but it's always moving. The soil isn't just stable unless it's a solid rock, like I said. And so you have to build your foundation with the ability to plan for the stable moving around. And so there's different ways, but usually it's wider at the bottom, and then you put some kind of concrete footing or a footer, and then you put a wall, a pier, a column, or something on top of that. And that's what holds your building up. But it's that very first layer, your foundation, that footing, is what's going to hold your house from sinking over time. And so different types of soil, you need different things. In places where it doesn't get cold, they use slabs lots of times. They just pour concrete right on top of the ground because the ground doesn't freeze. But here and moving up north, even more, you have to dig deeper and deeper because when ground freezes, it actually expands, right? Ice cubes expand. So if you ever put a new water bottle in the freezer that's never been opened, what happens? It might pop, but if not, the whole bottle will expand. It gets bigger because ice gets bigger. And so the water in soil, when it freezes, it expands, and so that can raise up your building. And so if you don't have your foundation down below that point where the ground freezes, guess what's going to happen? It's going to make your building go up and down all the time, every freeze-thaw cycle. And so if you ever see a sidewalk that looks like it's been broken in half, one side's up higher 6 inches than the other, that's probably what happened. When the ground froze, it pushed that one part up. And so there's a bunch of different ways, or sometimes there's just not a deep enough foundation, so then the weight of the building pushes all the way down through and breaks through the bottom. And so engineers have all kinds of specs. There's codes for this, but it's important to nail this and get it right because you don't want to mess up the foundation and do your whole building and then have it fail on you in a few short years, right? You want your building to last. And so in this one, you're going to be learning about the different basic types of foundations, some soil issues, how to look for different things in your soil. And also, like I said before, we're going to look at the Tower of Pisa. Why is it leaning? What foundation issue caused it, and how did they fix it to make it more safe so it's not going to fall over? So enjoy learning about this foundational knowledge to building a structure.